I'm trying to get this sort of slanted, I guess. Sort of like my life, my perspective. Saturday, January 29th, 2022, 2:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I wanted to make an updated. I didn't want to show my hands. I started this video already because my hands are okay, so this video is about how I've been doing recently regarding the wsib. Today, in my YouTube analytics, my intro vlog from 2012 showed up. You know, I see vlogs from various time eras and topics show up often, but the timing of that one was coinciding with what was to be a consultation, a 15-minute pitch my plea to a lawyer about the idea of going after wsib. I'd had a really good call previously with the person who answered the phone, about like a half-hour call to set up this appointment. And it went really well. But this call with the lawyer did not. It didn't help that I had just watched the video of myself. The video of myself saying I was 30-something years old. And as of right now, I am 43. And when my claim began, it was 1998. And when they when I made it through wsib tribunal, the claim was only backdated to the 2000 so when they took me out of the factory. So like it's like the whole era of 98 to when they finally did what they were supposed to do, which was take me out of the factory, didn't even happen. So I know it's years since the wsib tribunal decision that was partially won in my favor. But like it's really sunk in, especially as the years go by, and I feel I didn't get the help I needed, and I didn't get nearly what I should have for everything I lost and have continued to lose. And more so when I read back or see the documents of what happened to me in the factory prior to being taken out of the factory, I see all the injustices done, the wrong stuff, the stuff I had so much naive faith in the company and the union in wsib, while still being quite I was smart still, and I documented everything, and I have journals and all that stuff, but it's sunk in, especially now, how the statement I made years ago, that even when you win, you don't win. So what set me spiraling? What did this? well, it's no secret to those who are in my life that I don't even like calling wsib because it will pretty much get me to stuttering and upset, even if it's not supposed to be an upsetting call. And because I'm locked in benefits, there's really supposed to be no reason to call them. I'm done and dealt with. I'm just a old file passed around. But what happened was, in yet another attempt to try and better myself, I don't know why I want to try it this way. I don't have the tools. I mean, I have the intelligence. I proved that I could do it academically in fall 2020, online learning in the program when I made Dean's List. But I just don't have the strength to deal with some other factors to do with it. Part of my condition is, if there are stresses placed on me, it can cause me to just stop, fall apart, run away. It's a weird thing because if somebody else has a crisis, I can be there for them. Like, I'm the one in the household who, if something's really gone down, I'm the one that is like, okay, let's figure this out, let's make a plan, let's do something. It's sort of like if you've seen the movie Melancholia, where the main character, she has like severe depression of some kind, and she is not depressed at the end, and she's just able to function just because suddenly everything that she was worried about doesn't matter anymore, and she can function. I don't know, it's sort of like, I don't know, I'm just better at being able to be there. But for my own things, it doesn't take a lot sometimes, especially if I'm already trying to manage. And I have to say, for the past few years, I've been trying to manage. The pandemic just really, really intensified the nightmares I already experienced. Early on in the pandemic, my doctor prescribed a medication to help. And it was supposed to get rid of the nightmares, but all it did was soften the edges. And it's recently where I feel like it may not be working anymore as much, but still slightly. So what happened then, right? Aside from the fact that one of my recent previous attempts to do this program, the very first week of school, my father's biological brother died. The one I met years ago when he was passing through the city. Who is so much like, he was so much like my dad as far as mannerisms and all that. It was just so bizarre. He passed away at it, like, very young. And then, and it was so weird because I thought somebody would die that term, and I thought it was going to be my dad because of his health, but it wasn't. It was like the closest blood relative to him besides me. It was really weird, but it happened. And then, yeah, it was a tough one. And it was so weird because I said, or I'd written when I tried to school the following term, that the death had happened the year before, but it hadn't. It had been just a few months prior in the same year. It's like time just, it's been weird. And grief is one of those things where griefs just compile, and griefs mix in with other griefs. Like your sorrow just sort of hooks onto another one that you have in you. And I feel it is like that vessel, that wall of sadness I have in me that just feels it's overflowing sometimes. And it's just all of it, like a life of it. But it's about loss, right? Life is full of loss. But this time I went in like online. I went in online on my computer, and the first day there was someone in the community group in chat, and then in one of the classes or two, or I don't know. And this isn't about them. They're just a reminder symbol, example for me. There's someone who is in the labor market reentry program, and wsib is now clued into this program that is free, so they don't have to pay $180,000 or whatever they paid for that disability worker who did nothing for me. Company, where they sell you to somebody when they should have just given you the money, and so you can help yourself and access resources. But yeah, so he's in the program and he's being helped, and you know what? I stated it before. As an injured worker, he does deserve the help. He does deserve the chances. He does deserve all of the things that you should get when you are an injured worker. But what hurts so badly is that I know he's not on the timeline of having to get everything done within the timeline of the program. So they're making allowances for him of altering the timeline for him. And I just think of every single time I was cut off for non-compliance, for them not recognizing the secondary impairment, which was, had been a developed agoraphobia anxiety disorder that came about from the years of 98, 2000 or so, going forward to when they finally removed me from the factory. Perpetually aggravated throughout those years of trying to work and survive. And anyway, I was punished so much, and it was stupid. But I was grateful for anything different than I didn't understand the long-term repercussions of not having full advocacy and autonomy in someone actually fighting for me. Now, Office of the Worker Advisor did do a partial win, and they feel really glad, they were proud of it, and it was a good thing at the time. But it was nothing compared to what I should have had, and the dismissal of not even looking at all the years where I was left in the factory that created the secondary impairment. um, that should have been acknowledged and compensated for. And I know that now. Like, I'm so certain it should have been. And with between documentation and journals and all of it, I know for a fact it should have been, they should have been held accountable for not removing me from the factory, for not having, for not listening to their in-house nurse who suggested the secondary impairment early on, for all of the things they did wrong. They should have been held accountable for hiring a specialist. It wasn't a specialist. All the assessments actually were pretty, except for some errors in facts about me. They were all across the board pretty good. It was the one-on-one hearing one where they had someone listen to me and then write up this report that totally disputed my original injury, even though the factory put me out of the factory for 9 months because I couldn't work with my hands as hamburger meat. I used to have knuckle bandages in my locker that I had to apply myself to my hands and my wounds because eventually the supervisors just didn't want to do the reports. They didn't want to touch my hands. They didn't want to deal with it. They had pushed it off on a relative of mine who was working at the factory at one point, who had first aid training, just because they couldn't stand to look at the flesh moving on my hands, the layer underneath. Talking about it's very upsetting. Like, I went through all that and I had to work. I had no choice. I'd be sick on leave. My skin would heal while being away from the factory, and then I'd be back to work again, and I'd be working, and then I'd be off, and then I'd be working, and it just, the dynamic just really created a really bad mental health thing. And they tried to blame it on, rightfully so, a bad childhood stuff, neglect, etc. But I was functioning and living on my own at 17 years old with a full-time job. And within those years, I published a zine, my own newsletter from home. I did that. I circulated in the factory. I got elected as a union rep. I was a quality auditor. I was attending courses through the union, and I was participating. I was doing overtime when I was working. I was very vibrant still. I was functioning and paying my bills and all that. It was only when they put me out and I needed to be on, when I was put out for the 9 months, that financially it fell apart, right? So again, those years were never compensated for. Not to the extent they should have been. And things were done wrong that were very sketchy, and they're in my files. I have files that are the wsib files. I have medical files. Like, I kept documentation from the doctors and stuff. And then I have files of letters from regarding the claim. And then I have my own personal journals and stuff. So I have a lot of stuff about it. Anyway, so today I saw the video of myself from like years ago, before, like 2 years before the wsib tribunal, which wore me out. I did it though, I went. And so I was in an emotional state because I'm watching myself and I'm thinking, wow, like, I didn't think I'd win, and I did, partially, but it wasn't even nearly what it should have been. And I just thought of everything I had to go through and the choices I had to make to keep myself housed. And all because I was injured as a young woman who didn't have any means to change anything. It wasn't my fault. I did everything I was told. I tried to do my best. I had so many health problems by the time I was out of that factory. My gallbladder was taken out. Later, my hysterectomy happened after several blood transfusions. I mean, I'm fortunate I didn't get cancers like many people in the factory did from the chemicals that we worked with, though some people try to say it was smokers and whatnot, but no, it's in the material safety data sheets. I'm so sad about it, and I'm angry that I don't have autonomy, that I can't, that what they decided I was worth or could earn from a job is less than what I would on Ontario disability, which isn't even enough for someone to really live on anymore at all. And I'm upset that I don't have the psychological help. I don't have to heal, to fully heal, to like be able to work through all this. And I don't have prospects for education. There's barriers. The program I'm in, I could get the certificate, and then what? Can't afford to go to university college. My living situation affects that. And I'm now at this age. So what are my chances of getting employed with my resume, or lack thereof, in a field I would like? Let alone I don't go outside. So anyway, in the program that I decided to take part in on my own, trying to do something, get that college credit for English just to keep a door open in case I can do further education. And I was so upset. I couldn't handle it. I was like, why didn't I get that help that he's getting? Why is he treated differently? I'd always hear every appeals how young I was. And that's 20 years. I was younger. I'm still technically young, but not really, But I am. I feel like I want to advocate for the person that I was and for the way that I was treated and the way that I know other workers have been treated. So anyway, I don't want to use the word triggering, but yeah, I felt that way about the person in the program being guided through, and they participate in injured workers groups, and they're active and with that and feeling supported, and I went through everything alone, and I still do, in a way. I just, so it's 2:57 a.m. I'm like, will I even be able to make this video? Okay, so yeah, I had some water and I calmed down enough. I had to change the battery of the camera. Okay, so yeah, I felt upset, and it made me contact wsib and ask for, no, I demanded, I wanted my full reinstatement of the full amount that they had originally I had originally been awarded, that they clawed back for not non-compliance, because I wasn't in the treatment, the secondary impairment treatment, because I needed blood transfusions. I couldn't. I was really sick. I couldn't attend those sessions back then, and they immediately cut me off when they could, and then locked me into the lower rate of pay. So I had a couple back and forths, and then called wsib, who said the decision is a decision, they don't hold wsib for it, and to contact the Office of the Worker Advisor and or a lawyer or something. So I called Office of the Worker Advisor, and they're like, you had a decision, it went to wsib, we're not gonna help. And then I talked to a lawyer yesterday, and what sticks in my mind now is just him going to sue wsib. You need $25,000, and you don't have $25,000, do you? I didn't think so. I really wanted to be like, no, I don't have money, no. I suppose he's a good lawyer. Yeah, I would want to sue them for the mishandling of the claim from day one, the memos and documentation I have that prove it, and just the psychological damage and trauma it did to me, for them to put me through that all those years. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. They do it all the time. They make workers wait while hoping that they give up, go away, or die. And that should not be the way that workers are treated. Injured workers should not be treated that way. People think if they aren't through it, that it's there and it'll be there for them. It's not for everyone. And it's a horrible experience for people and their families and loved ones and partners, and it's life destroying. Many people don't survive it or make it as far as I did. I wanted to be able to fight them, sue them with the energy I have left, not only to get the income that I should have had returned to me and what I would have earned if I'd been able to stay employed to 65. Those people are still working there. I want what I have lost and cannot get, the income. But I also would like the pain and suffering financial thing, And I'd also like a precedent set where they can't be doing this to people anymore. That if you have a claim supported by medical documentation, if you've gone through all your assessments, if you've shown, if you've won wsib on the secondary decision, that secondary impairment that they've said that they've denied all along, they aren't believing your doctors, which is ridiculous. But you end up, it's there. You shouldn't have to fight and be criminalized, basically, for something that is supposed to be there so that you don't sue your employer when you're injured. I want a precedent set that they can't do this to anybody anymore. A young woman should not have been ruined in that way. Now, if I have good in my life, if I have anything good, and if I've experienced anything good, it's because of me and certain people or a certain energy to me. I don't know. I've managed somehow to still experience some amazing things. But I've also paid some costs that are high. And to think it would take money to be able to try to bring some justice to something that took away not only money for me, but possibilities and potential. And I know that people create new possibilities and potential, and I haven't closed that off of my mind, or else I wouldn't have surrounded myself with these books and still have these ideas of things to do and this desire to not let go of trying, even when right now I'm in a crisis slash maintain my just stay going right now mode. I am disappointed by that call, but not surprised. Though the call with, like I said, with the receptionist was far better. You could tell there was empathy, and I didn't sound like this. I have a headache that's coming here, I'm sorry. I wanted to have it I wanted to make it into a book, and not just like a memoir book or a zine, a big thick zine book or something with all the documentation and stuff. But I don't have the strength. I don't have the energy to do it on my own. It's not laziness, it's the emotional energy. It's so hard to read it and not feel something. I had somebody who is very closed off with their, or repressive with their feelings and thoughts, sort paperwork with me a few years ago when I wanted to organize it all in order. And even for them, they were just wiped out, and we hadn't even done it all. It was a lot of work when you're glancing through it and reading it and seeing it for yourself. I don't have anything to pay somebody to help me with this undertaking. I feel it is important. I don't think there is a book out there at all about the experience of someone who went from taking a summertime job so that they could go to college for journalism that turned into what happened with me. I think it is a compelling narrative. I think there is something to be said about the system and the surrounding poverty systems that you go through while going through it, and the choices you make, and the things you lose, and the damage it does, even when you don't want it to. So, I don't know if I can't get representation, because I don't have 25 grand. And I'm sure it will cost more than that, right? If that's just what it takes to start it. I don't know when I'll be healed enough to do the book. I don't know. It's re-traumatizing just talking about it. Like when I shouldn't have watched I watched the video and then I ended up speaking to the lawyer, and so I was already sounding emotional because my video actually brought tears to my eyes because I'm seeing this younger me and I know what she was doing at that time that she wasn't talking about to survive. And I'm not gonna be ashamed of it because it kept me alive and I had autonomy. But it was certainly nothing that I would have thought would have happened when I was a young worker. It would never have needed to happen. So, and Lisette, the thing is, it's still the thing I did to survive is the only thing I have that I could do. Right now that I could count on. Not in the same way as years ago, but I mean, in essence, it saved me. It's very... Anyway, this was me trying to go to school. I can do it academically. I can participate in class. I can't be there with someone getting what I didn't. I don't begrudge them it. It's just too painful. I think they're even older than me or same age range, or maybe they're younger, I don't know. Not much. Same age range. And I'm like, why? Why are they treated differently? Supported. Is it a sex thing? Like, is it my gender? Was it my age? So, what I'm doing now is spiraling out of control a bit, but I'm not hurting myself in the ways I would have years ago. I just made some food choices that were bad and have continued down the road of My meds kicked in. I am tired, that's good. But I don't know. I feel like the one thing that's keeping me from just laying down and giving up on just anything, like I'm functioning at a very low capacity right now. The fact that I bathed yesterday was a miracle. I think it's that I know I'm still needed to help keep the cats okay and, get through this pandemic, and that there's a possibility of better things ahead. That's what I've learned, that things happen and things do get better and things are cyclic, they change. But, and so I don't feel like I need to, I don't think it's fair. I think I had made a choice when I was 30 not to ever do it again. So, like, to try to finish it. And at this point, I'm more scared of actually dying when I don't want to die yet. So, like, I'll keep going. I'm just, right now I'm like trying to just like hold fast and hopefully get to the point where I'm writing and reading and pacing myself with the gaming, and when I'm energetic, doing the dishes and helping out some more, and maybe taking care of my hair and keeping the bills paid, and being thankful for what I have, and just I really would love to ingest books, just read them and read them, and then maybe I'll figure out how to be stronger again. I've been strong, but I guess my message is just, you can win, and then once it's worn off, like, you might win and maybe you receive money, it's back pay or an NEL award or whatever, and you're like, whoa. Especially if you haven't seen anything for a while. Maybe it's not as much as you should receive, but it's still like a lot when you've had nothing and you're like, ooh. But if I'd been more aware of the long term, that basically I got less than a year and a half of pay or 2 years of pay at most at a job. At that time, I don't know, that I would have saved money and got a lawyer right then and there if I'd known. But all along would have been if I had known. And I didn't know. I think I feel the worst for the younger me. And I feel like this was a time where I could have still advocated for myself, where I could have still fought, where I could have gone through it in another fight one more time to just really use the claim, the years of it, as an example to set a precedent of no more of that, of truly no more accountability, and I can't do it. I don't have the resources. And I know this is how it is. If you don't have the money, you can't fight. And that's how our capitalist society works. It's an injustice, and it perpetuates more injustice. Because those who really do, just because you don't have money doesn't mean you don't have a case, or a story worth being heard and used to help others and yourself. It's worthy. It's just, it costs money to get it out there, and that's devastating. And I think, well, if I have money later on, will I then want to put myself through it anyway? Again? Where will I be at by then? Like, will I be physically able to handle it, let alone mentally? Like, will I be too high risk for stroke or something? Will I be able to do it like I could possibly now? So, in a way, it's like I re-traumatized myself by trying to go back into the school program. And that's a harsh lesson to take in. That when I was trying to do something productive by society's terms, I just wounded myself further. And then to dig it deeper, I contacted wsib, who I did demand a letter. I wanted it in writing. And then to press it further, I tried to seek help of a lawyer. It just seemed to, I just seemed to be pushing myself closer to the edge. But I don't know. And yet, I can probably recover from this time period right now, these feelings, this thought, this overwhelmingness, this grief, easier than it would be to lay down all my paperwork across an expanse and to start sorting it for a book. That's even more draining. So, I don't know. I just wanted to not give up. And I kind of have to. I have to give up on education right now. I can't handle. I dropped the classes that I thought he was in, that I knew he was in, and one of them I kept because I was like, I have art supplies, and it's not really that interactive of a class, so I can handle it. It's mostly do your own work. But I just, at the end of the day, I other spaces, he's there, and it just dug at me. Like, why didn't I get help? And I guess that calls back to it's not gonna happen. It's not, I guess. I thought of a GoFundMe, but I don't think I'm the first person to be like, I want to sue wsib. Nobody understands, except injured workers, the desire to sue them. Nobody gets it. They think it's a government handout. They have no idea. It's just employers paying a agency that is supported by the government but isn't a government branch. And then employers just pay a premium so they don't have to pay people getting sued or pay them much for lost earnings if wsib doesn't rule in the favor of the injured worker. So it's like a win-win. It's really... it's the most stupid. People have no idea. Anyway, I went through a lot in the past couple weeks with that. And, my chest hurts. I'm gonna drink a lot of water and try to go to bed. But I don't want to go to bed. Nightmares. What I am gonna do is drink a lot of water and probably still go to bed. But I don't know when this vlog will ever go up. It will be a lot of work, like uploading, processing, etc. I have clips from previous phone calls I had made during this time period before I withdrew on... When did I withdraw? On Friday? Monday I withdrew from the program on my own, completely, like I was a ghost, never there. And there's shame in that, like there's guilt and shame. It's almost like I just stirred myself up to be upset. But it's not like that. It's just what happens still. You get through it, you're not through it when you've been through it. So I need to heal up some. And then just take care of myself and those around me. My head hurts a lot right now, so I'm gonna go. But I just wanted to update that it's kind of funny all the... You get that money and you think, oh, yeah. It's so predictable for them, I'm sure. The agent, the wsib, you know what I mean. It doesn't hit you till later when you're older and you're like, oh, wait a minute. I guess I am grateful that I'll end with great gratitude. with someone who is supportive. It cut off when I was trying to be grateful. It knows I'm just trying to make things up to try and sound better about it. I got a piece of my hair stuck on the moonlight. I'm housed, and while it isn't a perfect situation, we are able to live together, and he is supportive of me, even just reading, writing, and not doing anything, and that may sound great, and it is, but I have so much self-doubt and stuff that's really hard for me to do that stuff, even with permission, because I feel guilty, or like I'm not worthy of it, or I don't know how to explain it. And but I'm gonna try and shift my mindset to, it's okay. And yeah, I guess it's that fear when you don't have autonomy. You don't have the means to be able to control what you can do with your own life, that you are dependent, even with income coming in. It's scary. Yeah, so for those who've had to go through this, I'm sorry. And if you are going through the decisions at the end and you made it, you're getting your money, save some for the possibility of suing the hell out of wsib if your claim was in any way like mine. Because when that lawyer asked or said the price, and you don't have that, do you? I wish I could have reached back to myself in time and said, yes, you do need all this to clear some stuff up and to also have some enjoyment of some kind. To travel somewhere, to do something that you can remember. But save some of this and sue them. I wish I could do that. There's still other options for me, and I just need to get through this dip and go through the sifting of the retraumatization, that part of me that's been strong, that still exists in me, that is me, will emerge again. For now, it's a survival mode. I think I'm one below survival mode, because I'm not functioning enough but I'm surviving. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah. Okay, enough of that. Thanks for listening. If you're confused or you have questions about this, I need to go to bed. I need to sleep. I need to let myself rest. My head hurts so bad. I can't. My head hurts a lot. I have such a headache. I don't get those often either, so it hurts.